Good evening, YouTubers. This is the Desert Cardinal coming to you from the desert southwest. And the desert it is. I think today we got in the mid 80s. I mean, it was hot. We don't have our air conditioner turned on, of course, because it's still winter time. Um, Here in this part of the country, the humidity is really low, so we use swamp cooling. So the only problem with that is that once winter comes, you have to drain all the water out and and shut it down for the winter. And so when it starts getting hot like this, which it does frequently, um, kind of sucks because you can't turn your air conditioner on. But that's not why I'm here tonight to talk to you. Sorry I talked to you tonight. Kids had the day off, and we kind of hung out and just did stuff together. Nothing real major. But last video we were talking about coping skills, and specifically I gave you guys a problem-solving technique that I've used, and and I went through that laundry list of coping skills, but we didn't really talk much um, about them. And I just want to wrap up the talk on coping skills tonight, and just say that there's positive coping skills and there's negative coping skills. And and we don't, of course, want to do the negative coping skills. um, Drugs, alcohol, self-mutilation. um, I used to cut. I don't know if I hold my arm up there, yeah, right along there, you can see a pretty good scar. And I've got scars on my legs, and from from all the cutting I did, and that's definitely a negative coping skill. Um, avoiding problems. It's real easy for us to do. I know with me, early on, um, I had a lot of financial things, and instead of calling the the hospitals or the companies and saying, hey, you know what, I'm in the process of trying to get disability, my wife's working for minimum wage, can you give us time, can you help, I just let them all pile up, and I just worried and worried and worried. And you know that's it's no good. you know um, that can cause uh, a lot of extra stress that you don't need. Excuse me, I'm really thirsty today. So, yeah, the negative ways of coping. Said, drugs, alcohol, self mutilation, um, avoiding problems. Um, you can become a workaholic. You could, start working. Because working takes your mind off your problems, and um, uh, you can use that as a form of escape from the issues that you need to deal with. And so some of the positive ones that we had kind of touched on yesterday um, would be like meditation and relaxation on YouTube. There are a ton of videos that are like guided relaxation techniques. And if you have a smartphone, Um, you can put headphones in, get one of those YouTube videos, and some of them, you can find some that are like 30 or 45 minutes, and just lay down and listen to it, and you start relaxing. You know, um, in the background right now, I've got um, Baroque music, kind of the era where J.S. Bach lived. That music, for me, this kind of music, that um, relaxes me. And I usually don't turn it up real loud. I just kind of keep it, when I'm here by myself during the day and my wife's at work and the kids are at school. I'll just kind of have it quietly playing, and that helps to relax. Another thing is like taking time for yourself. Um, I go to the extreme and I isolate, but if you're in a situation where it's difficult to find time for yourself, try to make time for yourself, because that's real important, um, for you to be able to be alone and kind of you know reflect on the day, reflect on situations, reflect on your goals, or whatever. And that's another thing too. Goal setting is, excuse me, like I said, with the lithium, I've got the really bad dry skin, and it's right on my earlobe, and it's not good body language. They say if you're playing with your ear when you talk, you're lying. So, um, so another thing would be, we talked about yesterday, physical activity, exercise. That kind of goes without saying. Um, Reading. For me, I love to read, but currently I can't. But I can get on the internet and I can read a blurb here or there, or a little thing on Facebook, and I can read that. Um, a friend of mine does the excuse me, I'm putting myself to sleep. Hope I'm not putting you guys to sleep. A friend of mine does the audible.com, where you can get for I don't know how much a month it is, but you can download the audio version of books. I want to do that, if we can scrape together the money. Again, I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. Let's see what time it is. The smartphone. Um, there's terrific applications that you can get on the smartphone, if you're fortunate enough to have one. Uh, you can track your moods. Um, there's even like a bipolar app where you register, and all the people in that app are just dealing with bipolar issues, and you can talk to them. I did that for a while. I found groups on Facebook, and that's primarily um, where I get a lot of my support from, is um, two particular groups. Um, and humor, when I first got out of the hospital in 2012, we did like a binge watch. Well, it wasn't really a binge watch. We watched maybe one or two episodes every night for a few weeks. God, excuse me, you guys. I'm so sorry. We binge watched The Office, and laughed and laughed and laughed. And man, the laughing thing, God, when you can just really, when you find a really good movie that's funny, and you're able to laugh, that is, oh, it's so good. You can feel the cleansing that it does, for you. And hobbies, we talked about that. Spirituality. I don't mean religion. In fact, I would kind of avoid organized religion, actually, because things are changing, but you're more apt to run into people that don't understand mental illness in a organized um, religious institution. Um, Forgive me for if I'm stepping on anybody's toes. If you need to go to church and that's something you need to do, you know, that's great. But just be aware that and not just in the church, but in other organizations as well. People aren't going to understand mental illness. And like I saw a great thing on Good Morning America this morning about Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales or whatever, or I guess it's Wales, I don't know what, but she's Prince William's wife, and she's like leading this big campaign on mental health awareness. And the First Lady, Michelle Obama, is doing the same. And it was so refreshing watching on Good Morning America, them talking about mental illness. And one of the hosts of Good Morning America was saying, if somebody breaks a leg, you know you give sympathy to that person, but when somebody's dealing with a mental illness, they don't get that. And yeah, it was like, wow, you know what? Maybe things are beginning to change somewhat. Um, um, so uh, so yeah, spirituality. However you know express that in your life, go for it. That helps a lot. Whether it's you know well, I won't go down that road because it's too controversial. Um, let's see, like pets. Pets are good. Oh yeah, one thing too, and it sounds kind of silly, but if you've been depressed to the degree that I have, you'll understand. Taking a shower. Sometimes just taking a shower will make all the difference in the world. And because it's real easy when you're depressed to kind of let yourself go, with grooming and all that sort of thing. And so, being able to take a shower, it makes you feel so good when you're able to do it. So I guess I would wrap this up with um, finding trying to find things that'll build your confidence, whether it's relationships, with people that know you, um, hobbies, things that you can do, that you can accomplish, like setting small goals and meeting those goals, however small they may be. you know um, things that build your confidence. Another thing I've noticed with people, and I think part of this is people in general, but we have a really hard time accepting compliments. And when somebody compliments you, um, thank them and remember what it is that they complimented you about, and go home and write it down. And yeah, you know what? I am a compassionate person, or I am a kind person, and treasure those things. Um, spend as much time as you can with people that are supportive, whether they're family members, friends, um, a support group of some sort. If you're, in recovery groups, those are great places too. Um, I've avoided the recovery groups, honestly, because the ones that I've gone to have been very negative in terms of medication, and I can't deal with that controversy, and so I tend to stay away from the recovery kind of groups. But that's just me, and that's just here, where I live. Oh, let's see. Um, we talked about bills. Yeah, um, budgeting. Uh, coming up with a budget will help take pressure off financially if you're able to do it. And there's all kinds of things and resources online. There's great YouTube videos about, setting up a budget. Um, Gosh, there was like, oh, I know there's like two or three more things that I was thinking. Volunteering. Um, I actually just started that this week, and wow, it has helped me tremendously. And I spend maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, you know, and um, I'm making phone calls, uh, polling people, and it's all volunteer work. I can do it at home on the computer, and you log in, and it logs your hours and that sort of thing. And I've been doing that this week, and wow, it's really helped a whole lot. Um, uh, give support. Just don't accept it, but give it. And you can go on Facebook and get in these groups. Man, I'm going 16 minutes, and I just, like the average time people view my videos is about 6.5 or 7 minutes, and I need to really learn how to cut these down, because you know it's just hard to get all the information in. Give support, and if you're unable to do that, you can go on Facebook and join a mental illness or bipolar, whatever it is that you're dealing with, support group. And that's a great place to give support to people, because everybody's in the same boat, and you can share your own experiences. And here I go yawning again. Golly. Oh. Mm. Um, and so, and I guess the last thing I would say, and this is kind of hard to measure and kind of hard to quantify in a way, um, but probably the best coping skill that you can have is to be at peace with yourself, and whatever it takes, to get there. For me, I'm not at peace with myself all the time, um, but what has been helping is going to a therapist and making these videos and participating in groups on Facebook. Um, the therapy helps me to deal with stuff, because all during the week I have stuff going on in my head. I call it the itty bitty shitty committee that meets in my head, and I've got all that stuff going on, and knowing that, okay, I can take this to my therapist, so I can just kind of put it away, and I can kind of like, you know in my mind compartmentalize and say, okay, this issue's coming up, I'll put it over here to the side, and I'll remember that I need to talk to my therapist about it, and and go from there. Um, the spirituality, um, when you find your true path, um, wherever that may lead you, um, and it doesn't have to be like spirituality. It can be, it can be secular humanism. If that's a path for you to take, and it fulfills you, on the inside. Or if you're agnostic, and you're just not sure, um, there's all kinds of things that you can still do. Um, so uh, you know again, it kind of goes back to what, God, almost 20 minutes. um, it always kind of goes back to what I've always said at the end of my videos, is learning how to be in the present moment and doing the next right thing. And for me, um, being in that moment, whether I'm outside looking at the sunrise, um, or we have mountains here, and I go outside and I just kind of, I look at the mountains and I just kind of ground myself, you know, that gets me in the moment, and everything else, doesn't seem to matter sometimes. Sometimes I can't do it. I can't. I'm too depressed. I'm too whatever. But, there's a number of things that you can do. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. My email is Desert Panther, Desert Rainbow 66 at gmail.com. Um, Desert Rainbow 66 at gmail.com. And, leave a comment if you like what you see, subscribe. If you have a question or if you have an idea for a video, let me know, and I'll look at it and see what I can come up with. So anyway, you guys take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.